What up, everybody? You're now tuned into Jaguars Daily, where we give you Jags news daily. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another video. How's everybody doing? What's going on, family? How's life been treating you? Doing good over here, man. We're going to talk some Jags today. Got a few topics. Got to talk about my main man, Trevor Lawrence, and until he does what he did in the latter half of last year consistently, he'll always have this cloud of, what if around him, whether he can be that going forward. And we'll talk about it, of course, because, I believe that he is a top 10 quarterback and he's not 10. We'll also talk about Parker Washington and how he is wide receiver one going forward and for the foreseeable future. Maybe Travis Hunter catches fire. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. gets his groove, or Jacoby Myers goes on a heater or something of that nature. Who knows? But as for right now, Parker Washington is the guy. And Brenton Strange, how good is he actually? We'll talk about that. And who is the most improved Jaguar in your mind? There are so many options to choose from, but I'm only going to choose one today. But first, we'll start with Trevor Lawrence. And is Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback? Absolutely. He's absolutely a top 10 quarterback, and he isn't number 10. No doubt. No doubt about it. I can't think of 10 quarterbacks that I would take over Trevor Lawrence going forward for the foreseeable future. I mean, go down the list. Go down the list of your top guys, and are you going to take Lamar Jackson over Trevor Lawrence at this point? I'm not, and I'm a Lamar fan. I think they should have drafted Lamar. We took Taven Bryan. We're not gonna get into that, but they took Taven Bryan over Lamar Jackson. But I'm not taking Lamar Jackson. I'm not taking Josh Allen. I'm not taking Mahomes. Call me crazy. Call me whatever you want to call me. But I'm not taking any of those guys over Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. He isn't 10. Now, there's a lot of people I'll get pushed back for that one, of course. I know it is what it is. But with the overall direction the Jaguars are going, Liam Cohen in place, Tony Baselli, James Gladstone, they are committed to making the Jaguars a winner. They are committed to changing this culture. They are committed to raising the floor. All of those things are excellent for Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget what he had to deal with coming out of college. You go number one. When you're a top player in college football, you usually go to a bad team. That's just how it goes because they get the top picks. He came to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a perennial loser. It's not sugarcoated. That's what they've been. Before this season, that's what they have been. And it's been nice. 13-4 was great. Wish they had a different outcome against Buffalo, because I do believe that they could have made the Super Bowl had they made it past Buffalo, but we'll talk about that in the near future. But everything that they accomplished last year, let's not forget what they were before that. And Trevor Lawrence had to deal with a catastrophe of a coach who shall not be named in his first season. But he did do some good things for us, so we thank him for the things that he did accomplish in those 11 games he was here. Doug Peterson, I thought Doug was the guy because, he's a quarterback coach. He was a QB himself. The whisperer himself. He won with Nick Foles, and man, this is our guy, and everything's going to be great. And I don't think it was a good marriage between him and Trent Baalke. I mean, it was very evident, during the 2024 season and the latter half of the year, that Doug Peterson had checked out and he wasn't going to be here anymore. Or he didn't want to be here. I mean, my lady, who doesn't even watch football like that, watched one of his press conferences and said, Doug Peterson does not want to be here anymore. And she was correct. He did not want to be here anymore. So you had to deal with that. A multitude of injuries, whether they were serious or just little nagging injuries here or there. I remember in the I think it was 2022, they played against the Detroit Lions and got smoked, just absolutely smoked by the Lions. And in that game, he got bent backwards. Like that leg bent up under him, and I thought he tore every ligament known to man in that leg. Just had a toe injury. Came out the next week and smoked the Titans. So he's had those. He's had the throwing shoulder, his AC joints. He's had to deal with a lot. And with all of that, he's done it with class. He's done it with grace. Matt Ryan has talked about all the darts that he has taken on these last couple of years, and you never hear him complain. You never hear anything about it. He handles himself very well. Like early in the season, him and Liam Cohen had an exchange in the Bengals game where he threw the ball too high, and Liam Cohen pat his chest, hit him in the body, and Trevor brushed it off. And the media tried to make a big thing about it. They squashed it very fast. But I instantly knew what that was and what it wasn't. And what it was is, okay, coach, yeah, I got it. And what it wasn't is him trying to show his coach up because he's a classy guy. He's not emotional. If he was emotional, I would say, okay, this is a problem. But it's not. So Trevor Lawrence has had to deal with all of these things, and still he's persevered because as you've seen, if you are if you watch a little bit of football here and there, you've seen franchises break quarterbacks. It's happened here a couple of times. I think the Jaguars failed Byron Leftwich. To what extent, we could debate about it. They failed Byron Leftwich. They failed Blaine Gabbert. They failed Blake Bortles. They did. They failed those guys. Just my opinion. And let's not talk about what the Jets have done to their quarterbacks. We can go down the list of teams and how they have ruined young quarterbacks, and the NFL itself as a whole has a developing problem, especially when it comes to young QBs. But we're finding out it's a lot of the young guys overall, but definitely with the most important position on the field. And he's persevered through it all, man, through it all. Now, when I watch Trevor, I see a confident young man, very confident in his ability, confident in the direction that they're going, confident in the coaching staff, confident in what he's seeing on the field, confident that his guys will put him in the best place to succeed. He's confident. For example, I'll give you an example. So Blake Bortles, for example. Blake Bortles lacked confidence. If you watch any of the Blake Bortles era, I could tell when Blake was going to have a bad game. You could see it very early in the game. That hit. If I saw this at any point during the game, especially early, shoulders down, head down. If I saw that at any point, I was like, yeah, this probably isn't going to be a good game for Blake. Because confidence is gone. Confidence is shot. His ability didn't go anywhere. The Monstars didn't suck the ability out of him, and he couldn't play anymore. It was his confidence. Trevor doesn't have that problem. And he's already otherworldly talented. Say what you want. Argue with your mama. He has everything that you're looking for in an NFL quarterback. If we line up 10 NFL QB aficionados, students of the game, the top of the top NFL people when it comes to quarterbacks, and have them make a list of what they're looking for in a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence is going to have most of those things. He is. He's got the size. He's got the arm talent. He's got the legs. He's got the accuracy. You name it, go down the list. He has it. Hey, the ability to stay calm under pressure, the ability to come back down a lot of points. We've seen that 27-0 will live in infamy forever. So Trevor Lawrence is that guy. He will be that guy going into next year. And I think he's going to be top 5, and he won't be number 5. Hey, high praise. I understand. I know. Hey, let me know in the comments. Let me know. Debate me in the comments, and we'll have a nice discussion about it. But we're going to leave it right there. And we're going to talk about Parker Washington. Parker Washington. Parker Washington. Parker down there somewhere. Parker Washington exploded this past season. But it started in training camp. During training camp, you heard about Brian Thomas Jr. is struggling. Now, I thought it was a nothing burger. I did. I downplayed Brian Thomas Jr.'s struggles. I did. I was like, oh, he'll be fine because he's had such a great rookie year. I thought that's our wide receiver one. He's gonna become a top 10 wide receiver, maybe top 5 going in this year. 6'3", 210 plus, 4.3 speed, hands, I mean, agility, you name it, man. They gave him some end arounds and some jet sweeps, and this dude shifty, he can make guys miss. And I'm like, man, this dude is everything. So I thought nothing of it, but I kept also hearing about Parker Washington was having an excellent camp, and I did downplay it just a little bit because, you know, he's small, on the smaller side. He hadn't showed what he showed this past season, and boy, was I wrong on both of them. Because Parker, let's say Parker, you know, he became a focal point earlier in the year. We're talking about a Pro Bowl season from Parker Washington. Because even with him catching fire late, he still almost had 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he easily gets a few more touchdowns, closer to 10, and goes over 1,000 to 12 to 1,300 yards. No question, which I think will probably be his numbers next year because he is wide receiver one going forward. Jacoby Myers, he's a nice and steady. Brian Thomas Jr., we'll see, you know, how he progresses. I've heard his name come up in trade talks and teams interested, and supposedly they were shopping him. Hey, it is what it is. And then you got Travis Hunter coming back. And, you know, he's going on both sides of the ball. So, you know, who knows exactly what his role will be and, you know, how much they will use him on offense. Me personally, I think that, hey, they should let him go. Let him play wide receiver and cornerback at a high clip, and just let the dude let him go and let him figure it out. But Parker Washington is the guy. He's going to be the number one option. He's number one option when Trevor Lawrence drops back and he looks down the field. Where's number 11? Trevor's going to be looking for him next year. And I think he will launch himself into that stratosphere of top receivers next year, probably with a Pro Bowl season. And it's time to talk extension. I don't know if they're talking to him now, but it's definitely time to talk extension with Parker Washington. I mean, that dude built low to the ground. He's one of those guys I call a running back playing wide receiver, because when the ball is in his hands, which we seen on punt return, and let's not forget the value he gives you on punt returns. He's one of the most deadly punt returners in the league. There's no debate no more. He's done it 2 years in a row, being a excellent punt returner. So you also have that. But this man, hey, I think he's 5'10", barely 5'10", you know, maybe a sheet of paper under 5'10", maybe. But he's built low to the ground. And if you look at him, he's not small by any means. Parker Washington is not a small guy. He's just short, but he's not small. And he has reckless abandon when he has the ball in his hand. Because if you watch NFL and you watch defensive football, most defenses don't tackle like that. And it's not that they can't. I think part of it is want to. And I don't think guys really all of them really want it like that. You have a few, like the Seattle defense is very good. They're going to hit you. Houston Texans defense. Saw them twice this year. Hey, one of the nemesis for the Jaguars. Great defense. It's just unfortunate that they had C.J. Stroud playing quarterback for them this year. It is what it is. But, you know, most defense, they don't want to tackle. And Parker Washington with the ball in his hands, that Denver game was that was a wake-up call. That was a shot across the bow for the rest of the league. Say, hey, Parker Washington is here. League is on notice. And I think that's going to continue into 2026. So we'll see about it. I wonder what his numbers will look like as far as a contract extension right now. I can't think of, really off the top of my head what it would be, but I know they got to be in talks with him right now. At the very least, if some conversations are being had with his agent, you want to lock that guy up and make him a Jaguar lifer. So, but we're going to leave it right there once again. And we're going to talk about Brenton Strange. And how good is Brenton Strange actually? It's a good question. It's a very good question, because if you just look at Brenton's numbers, you know, what, 40, 46 catches, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you say, well, what's the big whoop? Well, go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. That dude can play. And he's a complete tight end. A complete tight end. You have tight ends who are, you know, they're pass catchers. You have tight ends who are blockers. Then you have guys who can do it both at a high level. And Brenton Strange is one of those guys. He can do both. Loved our former tight end, Evan Ingram, who's in Denver right now. Loved Evan Ingram. I think he came here and he really reinvented himself. And he started to love football again because he said he lost his love for the game in New York. Came down here, man, and he was good for us. He was very good. But he was a move tight end. He was a receiving tight end. He didn't give us anything in the blocking game. He didn't give us anything. He'll throw a chicken wing out there every now and then, but, you know, he was not that. So if he was on the field, you're tipping your hand as far as what you're doing because you're not really trying to run the ball with Evan Ingram, you know, blocking. It's not what it is. Brenton Strange, totally different beast. Totally different beast. That dude enjoys putting dudes on their behind. You watch him. He's utter joy. The first game of the year, he had a block against the Carolina Panthers. Go look it up. And he puts dude on his backside. And he's like got this big smile on his face, cheesing ear to ear, looking like a Cheshire cat. That's who Brenton Strange is. And even I didn't know how good he really, really was until I heard media pundits talking about him. That's one thing about it. Like, you don't, outside of, say Trevor Lawrence, every now and then a Josh Hines Allen, you know, every now and then they'll say something about ETN. You know, Brian Thomas Jr. last year, you know, they talked about him because he was lighting it up. You know, but you know, you don't hear them talk about a lot of our guys because people don't want to talk about the Jaguars in the national media because, you know, they're unabashed about it. They say they don't like talking about the Jaguars because they don't care. So it is what it is. But when I heard media pundits from the likes of, you know, Troy Aikman, to shoot even other good tight ends, whether it's George Kittle or any of those guys, and them talking about Brenton Strange. Tom Brady was talking about Brenton Strange. Tony Romo was talking about Brenton Strange and how good Brenton Strange is. Steve Mariucci, I heard him talking about Brenton Strange and how good he is. And when I started hearing all those guys talk about him, and I was like, man, Ross Tucker covered, he did the Jets game, Jaguars Jets game. And he talked about Brenton Strange. And that's what solidified it for me because I know what I saw with my eyes, and I knew he was the best option going forward, and they were going to let Evan Ingram go. And I knew he was going to be good. I knew he could block, and I knew he could catch. But I truly didn't know how good he was because he only played 12 games, and they missed him in all 5 of the games that he missed. They missed him. They missed him dearly. So next year he will be, do I want to say top 10? I forget it. Whatever. I'm going to go ahead and say top 10. Let's say, look, Brenton Strange, full 17 games, he's going to have Pro Bowl type numbers as a tight end. No question. No question about it. Because he's only going to get better. He's still a very young player. Still, you know, you could still tell he's working on his routes. He has great hands. He's an elite blocker right now. Like, there's no question. He's an elite blocker right now. And he still has room to grow as a pass catcher and a route runner. And I think it's only getting better. And he's another one. Contract extension. Jaguar lifer. Let's talk about it. It's time. It's time. Give Brenton Strange his due. Give him what he deserves. I hope all of those guys get paid. Yeah. Brenton Strange is that guy. I just want to put that out there. I just wanted to let it be known. Brenton Strange is that guy. So, but we're going to leave it right there. And I guess we'll talk about most improved. Do I really want to talk about most improved? I think so. I think so. I think I want to talk about who's the most improved for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So many options, man. So many options from Antonio Johnson. Man, Antonio Johnson was the highest rated safety, period. Like, when I saw those numbers, I was like, man, that is insane. Playmaker, absolute playmaker, Antonio Johnson. So he launched himself into an elite category at the safety position. So he's one. I'm going to say the obvious one, Devin Lloyd, Devin Lloyd, Devin Lloyd. Man, that that dude took a huge step, and he's about to get paid. Back the Brinks truck up to Devin Lloyd's house. Another one is Cole Van Lannon. He got his money. They paid Cole Van Lannon. That, man, you want to talk about improvement? Like, I forgot Cole Van Lannon was on the team, man. When I was looking up and then said his name, I was like, oh yeah, Cole Van Lannon. How long? He's only been here about a year or two. And I look up and I'm like, man, like, that dude, he's played some, but nothing like what he is. And then his ability to play multiple positions on the offensive line at a high level. Don't forget that. Yes, it's guys that can play multiple positions. You know, you got Travis Hunter. He can play offense and defense. You got, other guys who can play multiple positions. They can play outside linebacker. They can play inside linebacker. You got corners. They can play all the corner spots. You got the safeties, play all the safety spots. Wide receivers, they can line up outside, they can line up inside. But can they do it all at a high level? Cole Van Lannon can. Another one is Dewey Wingert. Dewey Wingert took a step forward this year. He's much improved from past years. Still shouldn't be our starting safety though. He's a nice glue guy. He's a nice locker room guy. But he's on the list for most improved. Anton Harrison, from his year last year versus his rookie year, he's improved. Ezra Cleveland has improved. Jarian Jones has improved. Monteric Buster Brown has improved. So the options for most improved. Parker Washington. We just talked about Parker Washington. He's one of the most improved. You could say Trevor Lawrence for some people. He's most improved. But overall, who do you think the most improved player for the Jacksonville Jaguars is from the 2025 season? Who do I choose? I was going to go with Devin Lloyd because it's an obvious choice, but it's a tie for me. I know. But it's a tie. Devin Lloyd and Cole Van Lannon, with honorable mention to Antonio Johnson and Parker Washington. But I just can't choose between Devin Lloyd and Cole Van Lannon, because Cole Van Lannon's improvement, saw him play a premium position in this league and play it at a high level, which was left tackle. I mean, when he was out against Buffalo, they missed him. Walker Little he's gone. He's out of here. It's like I don't know if they could salvage that, because I mean, can he play guard at a high level? Don't know. I mean, he was okay. He was bad the first game at guard, and then the next game he was better. I will say he was better. He did improve. I don't know what their plan is going forward as far as that, but Cole Van Lannon is your left tackle. So Walker Little is a part of this team. It will not be at left tackle unless Cole Van Lannon is hurt. But those are my two: Cole Van Lannon and Devin Lloyd. And Devin Lloyd, I talked about Devin Lloyd before, and people, I keep hearing the 1 year wonder, or he's in a contract year, but you can't discount coaching. You can't discount coaching and the improvement he himself has made. Look like he's bigger, faster, stronger. He's really taking it serious, changed his body. Dude looks like a monster now. Has excellent coaching and defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile. Yeah, I think he's probably, especially his first 3 years. If you go look at his first 3 years, Him and Cole Van Lanner, you look at their previous years and then you look at this year. I think they're definitely most improved. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. But we're going to leave it right there. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Once again, my name is Brandon Lampley, your host for Jaguars Daily. Man, until next time, I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.